Hello, everybody, and welcome to part 9 of the Golden Age of Lego. This is the live stream series where we go back to Brickset and take a look at some sets from the past. And for those who haven't watched this series before, we're specifically covering the years 1986 to 1994. The previous episode, we had nobody who showed up within the first 15 minutes, so I ended that. And if you have read my community post that I posted 4 hours ago, you know my explanation about why I might end a stream short, because and a little bit of context behind that is I have been very busy over the past 3 days trying to finish 2 assignments for grad school, and over the weekend I will be busy trying to finish another assignment for grad school. So time is a precious commodity to me, and I can't afford to waste it. So if no one watches the stream, there's no point in me continuing. But fortunately, we have people here today. So we have Lego Master 44, Alexandria, Billy, and Hoarder 66. Welcome, welcome. And also Candy. Hey, Candy. It's good to see all of you guys here. And so, yeah, we were trying to cover the year 1992 last week, but I said what I said. So we are covering 1992 this week. And also, if you've been keeping up with the regular schedule of my Friday night streams, the reason why this week we are not doing episodes of the evolution of the minifigure is because TMC Heather has other commitments, and we will do those streams in 2 weeks. So next week will be part 10 of the Golden Age of Lego, because I want to get through this series. And so hopefully tomorrow, if people actually turn up to watch my live stream at this same time tomorrow, hopefully we will be able to finish building the Lego Friends set that I've been building on my live streams for the past month or so. And hopefully we can finish that. And when I upload my city update next weekend, and for me it will be the last day of the month, I hope to have that friend set that we've been building on my live streams installed into the city. So anyway, 1992 is probably my favorite year for Lego, with some of the sets I'm about to show you. And also, as a bonus, I want to get into, I want to find some PDF files of a catalogue, if I can, from 1992. Anyway, let's get to the sets from 1992, and I'll do my quick scroll through, and you guys can talk about what the sets you like and the normal conversations that you have while we scroll through these years. So in the basic supplementaries, they really leaned into the 9-volt technology, because this is a year after the 9-volt trains came out. And that's a pretty creepy rabbit. And this might have been the first Santa ever in Lego. So at the start, there's always the Duplo sets, because they are the lower numbers. And back then, they did a lot of these Formula 3 type cars. Isn't it interesting that that has Renault branding on it? And I always wanted this set after I saw a YouTuber called Matt Simmons has have this in their airport. I actually bought the pieces to make that lift mechanism on Bricklink because I want to try and make something like that eventually. Because back then they updated parts of the airline logo. This was a second generation with this white plane flying over these trees into the sunset. And I'm not sure about you, but I think that's supposed to be being an apple. House shaped like an apple. Does anyone else get that? That's what I feel about that. And this is actually a battle. This is actually a value pack that I own. I own this value pack. I bought this at Brickworld Chicago. For town, you get an Octane racer. For space, you get a Blacktron spaceship. For castle, you get I think that's a Black Knight in his chainmail armor with a little fortification for the Black Monarch's ghost. And for pirates, you get someone that looks like First Mate Rummy with some treasure hidden in some rocks underneath a palm tree on an island. And actually, if anyone remembers the Sky Police city sub theme from a few years ago, well, this is a Nani's version of the Sky Police. And this is one of the more stranger promotional sets. There's a European cruise line called a Viking Line. I forget if they're on the Baltic Sea or something. But those black squares on those bricks, I forget if they're stickers or prints, but they are extremely tiny because this is a micro scale. Actually, this set, I think I remember playing with this set when I was in this social group thing I used to go to, because some of you guys might know I have high functioning autism. So that means that I can memorize a whole bunch of stuff. I have a heightened level of memory. But I'm not going to do your taxes or anything. But I do remember playing with this there for some reason. And I would always gravitate to that. That was one of the first Lego sets I ever played with. I didn't even know this was Lego back then, because as a 3-year-old, I hadn't been introduced to the system brick yet. I only played with the Duplo bricks, and then when I went to preschool and early elementary school, that's when I had started playing with the system bricks. So I was like, oh, Duplo's compatible with Lego. Okay, what's everyone is in the chat saying? Hey, Team B, good to see you here. Billy says, like the old skinny tall wire with the small win. Oh, sorry, a tire. Yeah, the big tire. The big wheel with the low profile tire. Yeah, there were some tires back then that they don't make anymore, unfortunately. And this is also when they had the Tulo sub theme of Duplo. So what you do is they had these joints in them, and they had these tools, and you use the tools to put them together. Like, you could screw and unscrew these wheels from these vehicles, because you see, like, for this crane mechanism, they have these yellow inserts, and those were screw points. And you see these wheels also have those yellow screw points, so that you use the screwdriver to screw them into place. It was a kind of a weird thing they did with Duplo. And yes, they did sell that screwdriver separately. This is something I really like, when they used to sell the train bases separately. This is a 6x28. I prefer the 28 stud long train bases, because there's more stuff you can do with them. And if anyone has seen some of my train mocks, you know that I use those for rolling stock that transports shipping containers, and some of the wires for the 9-volt trains. And this was when the Technic in the Dacta theme were getting into the pneumatics. Can see the air pump right there, and some of the spring loaded elements. And Brick Kicks was underway as a magazine back then. I think they stopped doing issues of the Brick Kicks magazine. I had this set as a child. It was one of the rare pirate sets I had that wasn't an Islanders set. This is how I got my version of First Mate Rumming. And I thought the way they assembled those 3x4 leaf pieces with the Jolly Roger flag in amongst those grey bricks that act as rocks, I thought that was so cool as a child. This is a little bit of an interesting design for a racing car. It's got no spoiler at the back. It's just got the engine at the rear. That's weird. I think I bought this on eBay. That version of a Fire Chief car. Interestingly named Rescue Runabout. And I have this marked as own, but I think I accidentally ticked the wrong one, because this is the same build. Well, this is almost the same build as this. It's just that I think this one doesn't come with the minifigure, and this one does. Me. Yeah, you tell me. My eyes might be deceiving me, but I think that's just the same build. Just that one doesn't have the minifigure, and that one does have the minifigure. And Billy says, think you had one of those Fire Chief trucks back then. You probably did, because they were some of the most affordable sets back then. And Lego keeps on making them. I always liked this 4x4 for one reason and one reason only. Sorry. God damn it. That print right there. A red warning triangle printed on a 2x2 white tile. That's a really interesting sign piece. And there's Paradisa. So Zissou, Johnny G, if you're out there, this is the time when you should be watching the live stream, because 1992 was the first year of Paradisa, Paradisa, sun is shining all day. That's the seaside cabana. And also, they were still doing some NASA sets back then. Because in 1991 they had that space shuttle launch with the NASA logo. I forget if this one has the NASA logo on it somewhere. But those are some of the similar stripings they used. This was a dual catapult for the Black Knights. You don't see dual catapults a lot in sets. They're ready to load up the catapult. This is probably my favorite of the Paradisa sets. The Sand Dollar Cafe. Look at that base plate. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors of plastic granules for this base plate. You get the you get the 3 different depths of water. You get the sand and you get the grass. And those curved windows are hard to find in good condition. The palm tree pieces have become expensive now. And also, some interesting prints. You see that 2x2 for the lifeguard station. You see that print for that vinyl piece for that windsurfer. You see that 2x2 tile with the ice cream print, and you see the Paradisa printings for the umbrellas. But I think that might be a sticker on there. I can't remember correctly. I've seen people review the Sand Dollar Cafe before. I just forget with that one. So they did some beachy stuff for Paradisa. They also did horse stable stuff for Paradisa, which personally I wasn't as interested in, but I do like the use of the palm tree on the island that they used for the horse sets. And a lot of the horse sets, they had this sloped piece that is, I think, 6x8 by 2/3 with this nice cobblestone printing on top. And Lego was really interested in the racing sub-theme of town back then. This is pretty much the only race set they ever did that was a start/finish line for rally or desert type racing, because these aren't exactly rally cars, but they're more extreme versions of a race car. I forget the class of this car, but it's the only time they did something like that for these types of cars. There's Rolling Acres Ranch. You can see more of those cobblestone slopes and more of that Palm Tree Island piece, and you get 3 horses in this set. Pretty much the only other theme you would ever get that amount of horses in was a castle set. And this is probably my favorite City People pack ever. You get the waiter, you get the female jockey, you get I'm going to call this a courier because he's handling what looks like a package. You get that's either supposed to be a lifeguard or someone that's riding in a jet ski or something. You get an Octan mechanic with the jack, and you get a girl riding a bike. Interesting use of the red ponytail piece right there, and also the female jockey has that whip right there. And also the black bicycle is one of the more rarer colors for the bicycle. And this is a set I own, the Trauma Team. I want to get into a little bit specific details. This came out in 1992, Sub-Theme Emergency, had 291 pieces, 5 minifigures, released back then for $27.50 US. And breaking news, Brickset now includes the regular retail price inflated. So no longer do I have to use inflation calculators. So they list what the US price would have been back then 34 years ago. Yes, 1992 was 34 years ago. If you were alive in 1992, please let me know. How does it feel 34 years later? And if this set was sold today with the inflated, with the inflation adjusted value, this would cost $64. Do you think all of this right here is worth $64? So when people complain that Lego has gotten too expensive, it's always been expensive. And people that say, no, it's not. It used to be much cheaper. That's wrong. The difference was the scale was smaller back then. So therefore, you could get a vehicle for $2 or $3. And today's $20 equivalent for that, when you look at the inflation calculator, let's take the year 1992, $2 or $3 is worth way less than $20 today, adjusted for inflation. But the scale of the Lego set is bigger today than what it was back then. So that's a straw man argument that people misinterpret all the time. This is probably my favorite. Sorry, I don't know why it keeps doing that. This is probably my favorite Lego construction vehicle ever. The backhoe from 1992. You get that caution triangle I mentioned earlier, but you also get that directional sign right there. And unlike some of the other road signs that have a clip at the back, these have the anti-studs at the back. So it doesn't matter if you're in a country that drives on the left side or the right side of the road and you want to direct traffic into one lane. All you have to do is change where the supportive 1x2 plate at the bottom of that printed tile with the blue circle and the directional arrow is. You can use that for whichever side of the road you drive on, which you can't really do if that had the clip at the back. And also the functionality with both of the front loader scoop and the excavator scoop is really ingenious for when this came out. I really like that. That and the mobile crane from 1996, probably my two favorite construction vehicles. But I do like this backhoe set 6662 better. Let's see what other people are saying. Yeah, I want the backhoe too. Candy's driving home. A lot of people like the NASA sets from back then. So Billy, you're turning 40 this year. When's your birthday? Because mine's on the last day of April. Let's see more. Getting into some of the castle stuff. I think they're going to remake this set. I think they're going to remake that set as a GWP. And this was the first year of Octane, so we get the gas transit. Set 6594. Still my favorite of the Octane tankers they've ever made. And this was the first year of Space Police 2. You might have seen some of the other sets. This is my favorite of the Space Police 2 sets, the Solar Snooper. I really like the design of that. I'm going to appreciate that more than the Galactic Mediator. And also 1992 was when they switched over from the Imperial soldiers in Pirates to the Imperial Guards. Because you can see these are the red coats. That is Admiral Woodhouse standing on the bow of his Imperial flagship. And this was the first year of Wolfpack in Castle. So they're hanging out in their old ruins that they repurposed for their base, and there's a Black Monarch's ghost hiding out there. And that looks like they're built there on water. This is the Galactic Mediator I was just talking about. This is my favorite Lego service station they ever made, the Gas and Wash Express set 6397. You got, sorry, let me get a closer up. You get the car wash, you get the convenience store, you get the sloped roof, you get the repair tools, you get the signs, you get the divided road base plate, and you get the tow truck. Such a cool set. And also, this is my favorite pirate set ever. The Imperial Trading Post, set 6277. Comes with the blue base plate that holds this jetty with a cannon right there. And this a building, I guess, for storage and maybe currency exchange. And then you get this ramp and pit raised base plate that has another cannon and more storage for goods that are being traded. And this ship that pirate is steering right now, that was remade in the neoclassic Eldorado Fortress set from a few years ago. And so, like, this is a perfect example of how Lego's always been expensive. Back then, this would have cost $85 in 1992. The inflated price is $198. Would you pay $200 today for this set if this was brand new, not 34 years old? Would you pay $200 for this set? I wish I did have that car wash. Hey, Brick Hive, good to see you here. I enjoyed your happy birthday stream earlier this week. We're covering the year 1992 because we didn't get to do that last week. So hope you're having good preparations for Pure Rant Fury in a couple hours. This is probably my second favorite of the Paradisa sets, the Poolside Paradise. You get the palm tree, you get this different style of a raised base plate, you get the curved windows, you get the pink fences, you get the pink stairs. And probably my favorite of the Paradisa torsos is the polka dot on top. Really like the island vibes of that. This is my favorite castle ever, the Black Knight's Castle, set 6086, because you get 4 horses, you get the ramp and pit raised base plate that is green with stone printing. You get the Black Monarch's ghost. You get this black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow color for the 2-door walls. You get these printed flags. You get all of the minifigures. You get the black castle walls, some of which have stone printing on them. Like, there's just so many good sets. No, sorry, there's just so many good pieces in this. And there's not a lot of details inside, so it more acts as a courtyard. But because it's so empty, it's a nice place to store the horses. And you could probably very simply build a few weapons racks to hold the bows and arrows that they're using when they don't need to be on the lookout and try to defend their castle. And you can use the pit inside of there for a dungeon to imprison some of the wolf pack that we looked at earlier, if you want. The exterior, the interior of this is kind of okay, but the exterior really shines in that. And that was 1992. And it's good that we finished with the Black Knight's Castle, because the Black Knight's Castle is my favorite set from this year. Runner-up would be the Imperial Trading Post. On the podium for this year would be, you can scroll up, the $100 Cafe. That's on the podium, and to complete the Mount Rushmore from this year. Let me scroll back quickly, and you guys let me know with the sets that we've gone through, what are some of your favorite sets, and maybe you might have a favorite with a runner-up. Maybe you also have a podium set. Maybe you have a fourth set to round out your own Mount Rushmore. But first for me is the Black Knight's Castle. 2 is Imperial Trading Post. 3 is the $100 Cafe. Just doing a quick scroll again. Just doing a quick scroll. I might be tempted to say this airport container truck. I might be tempted, because I'm thinking about it while I'm scrolling through and what I've just talked about. There's so many good sets from this year, and also if I can find some PDF files of one of the 1992 catalogs, then I'll show other reasons why 1992 was also a good year. And it's because of the sets that were released in previous years that were still available. And if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, then you might know some of the specific sets. And as much as I like the color scheme of Space Police 2, I think there are so many good sets in this year that the space sets don't do it as much for me. They don't do it as much for me, which is why I'm going to say my fourth favorite set is the Gas and Wash Express. So my top 4 sets from 1992, if we can scroll back, is 1, the Black Knight's Castle. 2, the Imperial Trading Post. 3, the $100 Cafe. 4, the Gas and Wash Express. So I'm going to leave the share screen there and see if anyone's saying anything. I sung Paradisa earlier. Hey, Zizou, you might want to scroll back or watch this stream on the replay to see where I sung that song. Hello, Foam Finger. Don't think I've seen you here before, so welcome to the mayohosko channel. And also, Alexandria, If people ever do end up spamming stuff like that, I give you permission to time them out for 60 seconds. Yeah, so let me know some of your favorites from this year, and I'm going to go see if I can find some PDF files of a 1992 catalog. Old instructions. See what this website says. Yes, here we go. So I think I'll have to share my whole screen. Yes, you did. So I'm going to have to stop sharing this, and I'm going to have to share my entire. Actually, no, I can share this window. Okay, you're seeing this. So this is one of the 1992 catalogs, and already you can see a set that was released in a previous year that was still available. So let's go over some of this. So one is the Metroliner. The model, some of the model team sets were still available. The Forestman sets were still available, particularly the River Fortress from 1989 and the Crossing from 1990. Kings Mountain Fortress from 1990, that was still available, as were those castle minifigures with the Crusaders, the Black Falcons, and the Forestmen. Rock Island Refuge and Forbidden Island, the Black Seas Barracuda, they were still available. Lagoon Lockup Saber Island, that was still available. The M-Tron sets were still available. The Blacktron 2 sets were still available. The Seaports and the Pier Police were still available. Those were all new sets. Those were all new sets. Actually, no, sorry. So what am I talking about? But you can see in the background the international jetport, the 1991 fire station, and the 1990 airport shuttle were all still available. These boats were still available. These 9-volt trains were still available. These model team sets were still available. There were no new model team sets for 1992 as we went through. Surprised I didn't make any new model team sets for 1992. And some of these shop at home exclusives, they were still available. And obviously the accessories don't change. I want to say, if we go back to this image, that 1992 was the last year you could get the airport shuttle. And it was $170 back then. I know people who collected Lego in the early 90s who said that they couldn't afford to get the airport shuttle because it was $170. I know people who did buy it, but that was the only Lego set they could buy for many months in either of those 3 years. And I know some people who said that they got to gifted the airport shuttle in either of those 3 years, but it was so expensive that it was a combined Christmas and birthday present because it was $170. Yeah, and perhaps you can make a list about them on a brick set, because on my homepage I have a link to the sets that I own according to Brickset, and you can see my Brickset profile. So yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing this. How do I exit out of here? How do I exit out of here? I want to close that window, and I want to go back to sharing 1992 on Brickset. So yeah, I guess Billy is really the only person who has a lot of stuff to say about these sets. So we have the most nostalgia for this year. My brother was still collecting Lego in 1992, so some of the sets I inherited from him were from 1992, like that pirate Lookout that I showed earlier. That's the main one I can think of that my brother owned. We'll make this a 3/4 hour stream. So I'm going to close this. And I'm going to check something quickly. I'm going to see if I can do something in my settings. And also, right now I've got 180 subscribers. So thank you for all the new subscribers. Let me see if they got this set up. No, they don't. So I'll redirect to these guys instead. Yeah, so next week we will cover, sorry, next Friday we'll cover the year 1993. And then 2 Fridays from now, hopefully Heather and I will do parts 21 and 22 of the evolution of the minifigure. That'll be once the April sets have come out, and what we'll do is we're going to cover all of the minifigures from sets that have come out so far this year. Because 2 weeks ago we covered the 2025 minifigures. So hopefully in 2 weeks we're going to cover the minifigures that have come out from the January, February, March, and April sets. And then we're going to do a little bit of a different stuff talking about minifigures. So that'll be the end of the evolution and the start of the minifigure podcast, or whatever we decide to call it. So thank you for watching this stream today. It is appreciated. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. If you have autoplay enabled, you will be automatically YouTube redirected to the Breezy Builds stream. And if you don't have autoplay enabled, you will see a message at the top of the chat where you can go over to their channel. So thank you for watching this live stream. I'll see you on my next live stream in 24 hours' time. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.